Welcome. For the next hour, there is nowhere else you need to be. Let your shoulders soften. Let your jaw unclench. Feel the weight of your body settling into wherever you are sitting or lying. You don't have to understand every story that follows. You don't have to remember anything. Just let the words move past you, like clouds moving past a mountain. The mountain doesn't chase the clouds. It simply stays. Breathe in slowly through your nose and let it go. We begin. A learned professor once traveled a great distance to visit an old Zen master, eager to be taught. He sat down and began at once to speak about the books he had read, the philosophies he had studied, the questions he had already answered for himself in his own mind. The master listened quietly and began to pour tea into the professor's cup. He poured and poured and did not stop, even as the cup overflowed onto the table, onto the professor's robe, onto the floor. "Stop! It's overflowing. There's no more room," the professor cried. The master set down the pot. "Like this cup," he said, "you are full of your own opinions and speculations. How can I show you anything unless you first empty your cup? A mind that already believes it knows cannot learn. Wisdom needs room to enter." Two traveling monks came to a river swollen from recent rain. At its edge stood a young woman, unable to cross without ruining her fine silk clothing. Without a word, the older monk lifted her onto his back, carried her across, and set her down gently on the other side. She thanked him and went on her way. The two monks continued walking in silence. Hours passed. Finally, the younger monk could hold it no longer. "We are not supposed to touch women," he said. "How could you carry her like that?" The older monk smiled. "I set her down by the river. Are you still carrying her?" We often suffer longest not from what happened, but from what we refuse to put down. A king once summoned his wisest advisors and asked for a single phrase, one that would be true in triumph and true in disaster alike, something he could engrave on a ring and look to whenever his heart grew too proud or too heavy. The wisest among them offered 4 simple words: "This too shall pass." The king wore the ring for the rest of his life. In victory, it humbled him. In grief, it comforted him. Nothing that came to him, joy or sorrow, was permitted to stay forever. And knowing this, he learned to hold both more lightly. Whatever you are carrying tonight, good or difficult, it is already changing shape. Nothing stays. An old farmer's horse ran away. His neighbors came to console him over his bad luck. Maybe said the farmer. The next day, the horse returned, bringing 3 wild horses with it. The neighbors came to celebrate his good fortune. Maybe, said the farmer. The following day, his son tried to ride one of the wild horses, was thrown, and broke his leg. The neighbors came to offer their sympathy for this misfortune. Maybe, said the farmer. The day after that, army officers came through the village, conscripting every able-bodied young man for war. Because of his broken leg, the farmer's son was passed over. Maybe, said the farmer. We rarely know in the moment whether something is fortune or misfortune. Peace comes from not needing to decide right away. A student once asked a Zen master, "What did you do before you were enlightened?" "I chopped wood and carried water," the master replied. "And what do you do now, after enlightenment?" The master smiled. "I chop wood. I carry water." Enlightenment is not an escape from ordinary life. It is being fully present within it, the same tasks done without resistance. Let's pause the stories for a moment. Feel your breath moving in your body without changing it. Just notice it, rising, falling. If your mind has wandered off somewhere during these stories, that's all right. That's what minds do. Simply notice where it went and gently, without judgment, bring your attention back here. Take one slow breath in and release it completely. A student came before his teacher and asked to be given a koan to meditate on. The teacher said, "You know the sound of 2 hands clapping. Now show me the sound of 1 hand." The student sat with this question for days, then weeks, then months. He offered many answers: the sound of silence, the sound of wind, the sound of a single drop of water. And each time, the teacher shook his head and sent him back to sit further. Only when the student stopped searching for a clever answer and instead let the question dissolve quietly into his own stillness did the teacher finally nod. Some questions are not meant to be solved. They are meant to be sat with until the sitting itself becomes the answer. A Zen master named Hakuin lived near a village, known and respected for his pure life. One day, a young unmarried woman in the village became pregnant. Her furious parents demanded to know the father's name. To protect someone else, she named Hakuin. The parents stormed to the master in outrage. He said only, "Is that so?" When the child was born, it was brought to Hakuin, who cared for it patiently, going door to door for milk and supplies, enduring the village's scorn without protest or explanation. A year later, the mother could no longer bear the guilt. She confessed the truth. The real father was a young man in the market, The parents rushed back to Hakuin, apologizing, begging forgiveness, asking for the child back. Hakuin returned the baby gently, saying only, "Is that so?" He held both the false blame and the sudden vindication with exactly the same open hand. Neither disturbed his peace. A young mother named Kisa Gotami lost her only child to illness. Mad with grief, she carried the small body from house to house, begging for medicine to bring him back. Eventually, she was brought before the Buddha. He told her gently that he could help, but she must first bring him a single mustard seed from a household that had never known death. Hopeful, she went from door to door. Every home had mustard seeds to give, but every home, without exception, had also lost someone. A parent, a child, a sibling, a friend. By the time she reached the last house in the village, something in her had shifted. She understood. Grief was not a punishment singling her out. It was the one thread that ran through every human life. She buried her son, and she stayed to study with the Buddha. We are never as alone in our sorrow as it feels. Every door holds someone who understands. The Buddha once asked his students, "If a person is struck by an arrow, is it painful?" "It is," they answered. "And if immediately after they are struck by a second arrow in the very same place, is that even more painful?" "It would be," they said. The Buddha explained, "The first arrow is the pain that life sometimes brings, unavoidable, part of being alive. The second arrow is the one we shoot ourselves, the anger, the resistance, the story we tell about how unfair it is, the replaying of it again and again. The first arrow we cannot always avoid. The second, we can learn to put down. Notice tonight, is there a second arrow you're still holding on to? You are allowed to set it down. A monk once approached the teacher, Zhao, and said, "I have just entered this monastery. Please teach me." Zhao asked, "Have you eaten your rice porridge?" "I have," the monk replied. "Then go and wash your bowl." The monk was struck by an unexpected clarity in that moment. Enlightenment doesn't always arrive as a thunderclap. Sometimes it's simply this: do the next ordinary thing completely. During a violent storm, a mighty oak stood firm against the wind, refusing to bend, proud of its strength. By morning, it had been split down the middle and lay broken on the ground. Nearby, a stand of bamboo had bowed low again and again all night, swept nearly flat by every gust. But bamboo is hollow at its core and flexible along its length. When the storm passed, it simply straightened again, unbroken, and continued growing. Strength is not always found in rigidity. Sometimes the softest, most yielding thing survives what the hardest thing cannot. A Zen master was walking through a village when a bitter, angry man began to shout insults at him, calling him a fraud, a fool, unworthy of respect. The master listened calmly, and, when the man finally paused for breath, asked simply, "If someone offers you a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man was confused. "To the one who offered it, I suppose." "Then," said the master, "I do not accept your insults. They remain yours to keep. Not every unkindness offered to you has to be received. You can let it stay in the other person's hands." A stonecutter, weary of his humble labor, wished aloud that he could be someone with real power, and was granted his wish, becoming a wealthy merchant. But he soon envied the official whose procession made even merchants bow. So he became the official. Then he envied the sun, whose heat no one could resist. So he became the sun, until a cloud passed and blocked his light, and he wished to be the cloud. As the cloud, he could block the sun and drench the earth, until he met a great stone mountain that no rain could move, and he wished to be the mountain. As the mountain, unshakable at last, he felt a sharp tapping at his base. Looking down, he saw a small stonecutter chipping away at his stone edge with a simple hammer and chisel. The chase for more power rarely ends where we think it will. Contentment was available at the very first step. A Zen master and his student were walking through a forest in autumn when a single red maple leaf let go of its branch and drifted down, landing softly on the surface of a quiet pond, sending out slow rings across the water. The student watched it, suddenly sorrowful. "It seems so sad," he said, "that something so beautiful must fall and die." The master watched the ripples settle into stillness once more. "It is not falling," he said. "It is arriving." Endings and beginnings are often the same motion, seen from two different places. A wandering monk arrived at a monastery gate late at night, soaked from rain, carrying nothing but his robe. The head monk let him in and, curious, asked why he traveled with no belongings at all. No bowl, no blanket, no spare sandals. "Because," the traveling monk said, "everything I might lose, I have already put down. What is left cannot be taken from me." We often protect what we're most afraid to lose. There's a quiet freedom in holding things loosely from the start. We return now to stillness. You've spent this hour with monks and travelers, kings and farmers, a grieving mother, a proud oak, a single falling leaf. None of them were asking you to believe anything. They were only asking you to notice. Notice your breath right now without changing it. Notice the weight of your body, fully supported by whatever is beneath you. You do not have to carry anything out of this hour that you don't want to keep. Like the monk crossing the river, you can set it down right here and walk on lighter. Whenever you're ready, no hurry at all. Let your eyes open or simply let yourself drift into rest. Thank you for spending this quiet hour here.